everyone, welcome back to Mummy's Love. You're once again with Mummy Shahnaz today, and I am doing a requested video on starting your baby on solid foods, or what we generally call as weaning. Now, while this is a requested video, it was already on my mind because I realized this is such an important topic for any infant mother, and it can be really hard if you are a first-time mother. I promise this video is going to be your complete guide to weaning right from the time you begin your baby on solid foods, whether that's the age of 4 months or 6 months till the age of 12 months. I'll be talking about the kinds of foods that you can give your baby and your baby can enjoy, and also talking about the equipment that you would require for this entire process. This video will also contain special references to the Indian style of weaning. The reason is because when I was kind of beginning to put my babies on semi-solid foods, I saw a lot of such videos and I realized there was very little information on especially what the Indian mothers could start their babies on. So ladies, this video is going to be for anybody, whether you're an Indian, an Asian, or an American, or any other country. I hope to cover all the important foods that are easily available across the world and that are absolutely wonderful superfoods for your baby. So let's get started. There is a lot of controversy regarding the right age to start your baby on solids. For a lot of children, the age could be 4 months. For others, may not start till the age of 6 months or 8 months or even thereafter. So it really depends on when your baby is ready to eat. So technically, a lot of children who are a lot more hungrier can start having kind of semi-solid foods starting at the age of 4.5 months, while theoretically whichever literature you're going to read, it's going to say that the right age for weaning is 6 months, and there are some specific reasons for it. The first reason is that the doctors believe that your baby has to sit up in order to be able to eat semi-solid foods. If your baby is not able to sit up on his or her own, then you may want to just hold it for a bit longer. And also, whenever you start your baby on semi-solid foods, you also need to kind of start introducing your baby to water, because that's required for the food to get digested. So I will tell you how is that I started. I realized that one of my babies, Kian, was a lot more hungrier initially, and I realized that around the age of 4.5 months, and that's when I started him on kind of a baby rice, just to see how he kind of reacts to the entire experience. He loved it, he quite liked it, but I soon realized that his stomach was not ready to kind of be started on semi-solid foods. So that's when we kind of stopped the whole thing, and we kind of reintroduced giving him the semi-solid food after another a month or so, and we got the same response. And it was around the age of 5.5 months we noticed that he had increased interest in food, especially when his father would sit down to have his breakfast. He would be really keen to see what is that he's eating and would try to kind of grab on his food. So that's when we realized that was the perfect time to start him on semi-solids, and I guess another by the time Rianch turned 6 months old, we started him on semi-solid foods as well. So that's going to be a key factor. You need to see how interested your child is in having food, and the best way to find out is that when you sit down to eat your food, he or she tries to grab on your food. Mummies, it's important for you to remember that no matter when you start weaning your baby, whether it's 4.5 months, 5.5 months, 6 months or beyond, it's really important for you to know that food initially is just for fun and kind of setting the stage for a later part of life where food becomes as the only source of nutrition and an energy. But right now your babies are more and more reliant on milk, and always remember that your baby's milk intake should not go down than 650 ml, 650 ml. Because if your baby is having less milk, then you may need to cut down on the number of times you're offering your baby food or the quantity that you're offering to your baby. Always remember that the food that you're giving in addition to milk is purely fulfilling some side nutritional requirements. At this particular age, milk should be the main and the first food for your baby. When your baby starts to eat, that's like a graduation day for you and the baby, because your baby has just stepped onto a very important milestone of his life. And whatever food habits that your child is going to develop over the next 1 year are going to live with him for as long as he walks on this earth. Hence, it is all the more important that mothers create the right habits right from the beginning. Now, initially, when you start your baby on semi-solid foods, just remember that you need to ensure that whatever you're giving to your baby is of a very thin consistency. You may have to add a little bit of milk to whatever food that you're introducing, and it's quite possible that your baby is going to reject that food several times, but that's because your baby's taste buds are not developed until your baby tries on a particular type of food for almost 35 times. So even if your baby shows particular amount of dislike for some specific food item, don't stop offering that food item completely, because your baby is eventually going to develop the taste, his or her taste for that food item, and eventually going to enjoy that particular food. So a lot of mothers have to say that they tried this, tried that, and the baby did not like it, but that's okay, guys. That's because your baby has a very limited taste buds on his tongue at the moment. Now, before I start on the kinds of food that you can use for weaning off your baby, I'm going to talk about some really important things that you need to know. Number one, never leave your child unattended while your child is eating. Whether your child is being fed by somebody else or the child is consuming finger foods, always remember that you need to be near your child. Somebody has to be there, because your baby can easily choke. Whenever you're starting on food, you need to limit the intake of salt and sugar, because the baby's kidneys are not really completely mature to process that amount of salt, and the same goes for other organs as well. So make sure that there is a very limited quantity of these two things in your baby's food. Prefer to give your baby organic foods because it's chemical free, and that's a wonderful way to start your baby on foods that are going to develop a healthy body. If you don't have organic fruits and vegetables easily available, you may want to just look at growing your own in your garden. A little bit of it is all that your baby needs. Always taste the food and check the temperature before you're offering it to your child. Give your baby enough time to ensure that they enjoy the food. As I said initially, weaning is all about just play and fun, so it should be fun time for your child. Mummies, do remember, the best food for your child is the one that you eat. Once your child is completely on semi-solids and takes about 3 meals a day, it is best to switch your baby on the food that you're eating. Or perhaps you would like to make some adjustments in the chilliness or the hotness and the sauciness of the food you're having. A very important thing for all mummies to note is that the best food for your child is the one that you are preparing in your kitchen, which is prepared fresh and not kind of stored in the freezer, or is not a packaged food, because the freshly prepared food will always have more nutritional value for you and your baby. Mummies, always remember that it's important to create a happy environment when your child is eating, so that child is able to associate food with something that makes them really happy. And I think culturally that is true for all of us, because whenever we feel happy, we kind of either party or celebrate or have a dinner or prepare good food at home. So your baby should be able to associate food with fun. Force feeding can not really create that kind of fun atmosphere that you would love to. Remember, there is no right or wrong way. Every child is different. Every baby has different nutritional requirements, and at the moment it just has to be fun. Provide your baby with lots and lots of vegetables and fruits, because a lot of children around the age of about 4 to 5 months have physiological anemia. So it's offering them lots of fruits and vegetables provides their body with a lot of antioxidants, increases and boosts their immunity, and also helps improve the iron levels in their blood. You must be hearing a lot about baby-led weaning, but my suggestion to you would be is that just make sure that whatever way you choose, it should be a combination of baby-led weaning along with spoon feeding the baby, whichever works best for your baby, but make sure that you don't kind of 100% switch to either of them. It should be a combination of both. And last but not the least, take lots and lots of pictures as your baby starts eating. It's one of the most amazing moments of any mother's life, and that's one moment that kind of every mother waits for. So don't forget to take lots and lots of pictures and create some wonderful memories for them. So ladies, these were some important tips that you need to be mindful of. Now I'm going to get on to the phases of weaning or starting a baby on solids. And the first phase is going to be the learning phase. That is when you start introducing a variety of foods to your child. Now, when you're going to get started your baby on a variety of foods, just make sure that you offer one kind of food to your baby several times, just to ensure that your baby is not allergic. And in case you do have any history of food allergies, then you might want to kind of hold that food back for a couple of months, and should not be really your ideal food to begin with. In the very first phase, it's important that whatever you're offering to your baby is mashed really well, and perhaps you may want to thin it a little bit by adding a little bit of milk, and that makes the entire job of feeding a lot more easier. So the initial phases is going to be more about spoon feeding your baby, though ideally the spoon feeding will continue till much later. My boys are 18 months old now, but despite that, a lot of spoon feeding still happens. So spoon feeding is going to continue for a much later part of life, but the very first phase of your baby's process is when the baby starts to sit up and can be easily spoon fed semi-solid foods. So these are the first few foods that you can begin with, and they are absolutely wonderful foods to start with. And the very first and the most important food for a mother across any continent or country is going to be bananas, because bananas are really good for baby's tummy. And the initial tribulations that you would notice in your baby's stomach when they start eating, banana is somehow able to curb those and works really well for your child. So just make sure your banana is nicely mashed. Another food that you can couple along with bananas and works really well is yogurt, and it contains a lot of probiotic and bacteria, which are essentially good for your baby's gut. Another great food for your baby at this particular age is going to be avocados, which are generally available almost everywhere in the world. So they make great mashed foods to begin with. The first foods from 5.5 months to about the age of 7 months that you can get your babies on are avocados, bananas, yogurt, applesauce, pear sauce, and pureed pumpkin. Apart from that, oatmeal and some amount of baby rice, and there are a lot of options available in terms of oatmeal baby food available in the market as well. I'm not a huge advocate of processed baby foods, but I think dry foods go really well, especially if you're traveling. You can just carry a mixing bowl, and all you will need is just a spoon and a little bit of milk to dilute it and feed your baby. And if you do not prefer giving your baby packaged food or processed food, you can easily get home a packet of oats and grind it to prepare your own oatmeal. So the second stage of your baby weaning is going to be when your baby can start having slightly more unmashed stuff or partially mashed stuff, and that's what you can start introducing more fruits and vegetables. You can introduce fruits like you can kind of create a puree of various fruits and vegetables. So the best fruits and vegetables to start pureeing at that particular time are going to be broccoli, which works really well because it has a lot of protein for the baby's nutritional requirements. And you can create a veg puree of carrots, peas, broccoli, spinach, or any other vegetable which is easily available in your local market. You can also start with boiled and mashed peas. That works really well. For the Indian mummies, you can begin with giving them lentil soup, or what we call is dal ka pani and suji ki kheer, or semolina preparation in milk. And you can also start your children on homemade cottage cheese as well as scrambled eggs, and scrambled eggs make really good finger foods for your children. If you feel that you want to make this food a bit more filling for your baby, you can add a spoon of crushed oatmeal to the baby food, or you can add a little bit of boiled rice, really finely mashed, into the baby's veg puree. A few more foods that baby can get started on at the age of 10 months to 1 year are rice and mashed vegetables, small bits of bread or the Indian roti, rice and lentil in any form. You can introduce more fruits, whatever fruits are seasonally and locally available in the market. You can introduce an Indian dish called khichdi, which is a combination of rice, lentil and vegetables. You can also introduce various curries to your children which are not very hot and spicy. You can introduce any combinations with rice, because rice really fills up your baby's stomach, and baby can start enjoying foods that are actually intact, and more filling for your child. So there are some more finger foods that you can get your baby on. So one of them I already shared is going to be scrambled eggs, and you can offer your baby homemade cottage cheese or tofu. You can offer them pieces of cheese, processed cheese or shredded cheese. Chickpeas, avocado, boiled peas, sweet potato, mashed potato, steamed carrots, green beans which are mildly steamed and cooked, mashed cauliflower, banana, cooked apples, ripe pears, and something like Cheerios. Now, coming to the equipment that you would require for preparing your food, you do not require any special equipment. All you need is very simple things like a pressure cooker or a steamer, along with a mashing bowl, a couple of soft silicone spoons so that your baby does not get hurt while eating. Extremely simple plastic plates and bowls, and nothing really fancy. I'm going to kind of show a picture of all the things that we used. Yourself yet on attaining a perfect balanced meal right now. All that your child needs is available in the liquid form. So what is required at the moment is that your child enjoys his food and enjoys it with people he most loves. I hope you enjoyed this video on weaning. So if you find this video to be informative and helpful, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more such baby videos. Riyansh, say hello. Yeah. And you can also follow me on Instagram to catch on my little special mummy moments. I hope to see you soon on next video. Till then, you take care of little ones. Bye bye.